Hey there, this is Ashley from Paper Tokens. If this is your first time joining me, thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. Today I'll be sharing a friendship card featuring Arteza Real Brush pens and an older Neat Tangled stamp set. This is the Neat Tangled stamp set I'll be using called Faceted. First, I cut some Canson XL watercolor paper as an A2 size panel. I used my EK Success anti-static powder tool, the Hero Arts white embossing powder, and Versamark ink. Off screen, I used my Misty tool to stamp this for precision since I would be doing watercoloring. I stamped my finished panel onto a board with some washi tape. For the watercoloring I'll be doing, I pulled out my 48 set Arteza pens. I purchased these in December off of Amazon where they have fluctuating sales prices. They actually just came out with the 96 pen set, but I won't be purchasing those anytime soon because I already have the full set of Zig real color brush pens. They're comparable to the Zigs, but more affordable. You'll see at the end of my pens there's swatches because these pens aren't labeled with any numbers or names the way Zig real color brush pens are. That's the only drawback in my opinion. Getting my supplies ready for watercoloring. For this video, I sped it up to almost 5 times the speed. I do not go this fast in real life. So you'll see that first I drew a line of color and then used just, a spare water brush and water to help draw out the colors into the little triangles or the different facets with the white embossing acting as a pan of sorts or maybe like a well of sorts to contain the color. So me watercoloring is the bulk of my video. Like I was saying, I think these Arteza pens, or maybe it's Arteza, I think they're pretty comparable to the Zigs. So I can't wait to see more videos from others utilizing these pens. So far, I'm really liking them. And for this stamp set, I'm sure of course you could use other colors, but for me, since Valentine's Day is around and I'm more drawn to pinks and reds and orangey yellow tones, that's why I chose the colors I did. But I was also debating using blues and purples. So I think if I'm gonna recreate this card again, I think I would try it with that. So I used my heat tool to speed up the drying process. Off camera, I took the sentiment "You Dazzle Me" and heat embossed it onto some heavyweight black cardstock. Making sure it's dry and I'm blotting any puddles that I see. You can see that there's some leftover anti-static powder. So all I did was just take a paper towel and just buffed away the excess powder. I love how it pops off the page or the cardstock. With the same paper towel, I blotted my surface and then I also buffed off any watercolor. I took a Sizzix circle die. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact dimensions with me. And I was just fiddling around to decide, okay, where do I want it to cut? I ran it through my Big Shot. As you can see, I'll just pop it out. Loved how it turned out. Reminds me of stained glass. I took another A2 size panel made from 110 pound cardstock and used my scoring tool to score lines, I think about 1/4 of an inch apart. I was inspired to do this card technique from a very inspiring card maker, Yana Smakula. So please check out her work. She is so creative. I loved how that turned out. So I'm just laying out my elements, playing around to see how I was going to put it together. This is probably where I'm getting some adhesive. I'm sorry I'm not as prepared in this video. So off screen, I cut my sentiment down with my paper trimmer. Trying to figure out how much of a black outline I wanted to leave. So I have my Tombow adhesive runner. There's my card base. So I'm going to adhere the scored panel on top, doing my best to line it up as straight as possible. Definitely not an expert in that. I have to be super patient. And then using the 3M foam tape, I am putting pieces onto the watercolor panel and then also the sentiment. I wanted to add dimension to this card as well for some added interest. So then just peeling off the backs from the foam tape, and then I will be placing it onto the card. So this is probably the point a lot of us get to where we think, okay, I could leave it as is, or should I add some embellishments? I am trying to learn the clean and simple technique. I'm not exactly there yet. I do love adding embellishments, but there are times when I'm making cards where I think, okay, Ashley, I think you've gone a little too far. I wish you could rewind and take that away. I guess it's all about personal preference, but as you can tell, I went for embellishments. So I pulled out some of my first Pretty Pink Posh sequins that I've ever purchased. I grabbed my Zotz Bling glue dots. I learned this from Nicole Spore. Hopefully I'm not butchering her last name. Instead of just using glue. I find that they work pretty well with sequins. So the sequins I will be using are the Pretty Pink Posh, Sparkling Clear, Pink Blush, Pink Peonies, and Pansy Purple. So what I just did was take the Zotz Bling glue dots and put them on the back of the sequins. And this is also a struggle for me too, is where do you randomly place the sequins? I feel like when I watch other card makers doing it, they do it perfectly, and for me, I feel like I either add too much or too little or too much in one area. So this is me in, real time, just kind of putting it down like, okay, I think I'm done there. I was tucking in some sequins behind some of the raised dimension, and I tried to do the rule of 3. So basically that is the end of this video and the end of my card making process today. So if you've enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my projects, I'd invite you to subscribe to my channel. I'd love for us to be crafty friends on social media, so come find me on Instagram, Facebook, or on my blog. I hope you get to craft and create this weekend.